my darlings. Welcome to my kitchen again. I'm Rosary. I work for Marigold Library System, and this is another book cook. And I'm going to talk to you today about Gail Anderson-Dargatz. I'm sprinkling some just ordinary salted nuts onto this silpat right now. Gail Anderson-Dargatz is a Canadian writer, a British Columbia writer in fact, and she's lived all of her life in the Shuswap, and that makes a lot of the background of her books, the landscape of her books is that part of the world. Her books are lots of fun. She often talks about cooking and even includes recipes. The first book I ever read by her was called The Cure for Death by Lightning, and it included lots of recipes, including what you could do if in fact you were killed by lightning, which is an awesome recipe to have. And it had a number of other recipes as well. And really, that book is sort of the genesis of this whole idea of book cooks, because we were reading that book, The Cure for Death by Lightning, for our book club. And it included a number of recipes, and I made some of the cookies and brought them down to eat while we were discussing the book, which is lots of fun. And incidentally, it's very hard to go back from starting to eat at book club once you start. So that made me think even back then about doing a video series of this sort. And if you want to read one of her books right now, and when it's so difficult to get out, you could go onto your Libby app, and there is a book, an audio book called From Scratch, which is actually a book that was created to help new readers, new adult readers. Or you could find Spawning Ground, which is her most recent novel, and talks about salmons and rivers in British Columbia. It touches on a lot of really important issues. It's a little bit spooky, like some of her books are, and very character driven. Fantastic character creation she does. So in one of her early books, and I can't say which one because I don't have access to all of them right now because of the pandemic, she talked about making peanut brittle. And that's what I'm doing right now. And I chose this recipe of all the ones that she put because it was the one I could remember, because it only has 2 ingredients, salted peanuts and sugar. And when I read the recipe, I was so thrilled because my grandmother used to make this exact peanut brittle, and she made it in a cast iron pan, which is why we're using a cast iron pan. And you can see how simple this was. The sugar went straight into the hot pan, started getting liquid right away, and you're waiting for it to get a gorgeous brown color to it. When you're making other candies, you have to use a candy thermometer and be very careful about temperature. But with this, you're simply waiting for burnt sugar, because brown tastes good no matter what you're cooking, and it's also true of sugar. All right, here I go over to the peanuts. I've got them laid out on a silpat. My grandmother would have just laid these peanuts out on a cookie sheet, and then put it outside to cool in the cool air. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it with a silpat because that is a very handy modern invention. There we go. I'm going to get this heavy pan and put it down. And I'm just going to muck about a little bit to push all of these peanuts into the molten sugar. And it's already starting to get quite stiff. It happens very, very quickly. Now, I'm not going to eat this because I don't eat much sugar these days, but I have a daughter living just down the road who will be thrilled to get a little peanut brittle, or maybe one of my neighbors for a special surprise. So that's all I have to say about this. I hope you'll try to read some of Gail Anderson-Dargatz's book.